Welcome in, Taurus. I'm fighting with the window behind me. My name is Intuitive Niche. We're here to do your weekly 10 to 20 day reading. Yes, we are. I am going to use the Healing the Inner Child Oracle deck. This deck does not belong to me, but if you leave something at my house, I will use it. Absolutely. Taurus, I am doing all the earth signs next. All of my readings are free, timeless, and for entertainment purposes only. Free will and final say at the end of the day, and no matter what your childhood was like, it is never too late to heal. That's what this deck is all about, okay, Taurus? Free will, final say at the end of the day, so I do not take responsibility for your actions, thoughts, choices, or decisions. It is your choice to watch this video. So at the end of the day, it is your choice to follow or not. I had a couple people ask me why I don't take responsibility, and I'm telling you, all I am is the messenger. I'm giving you guidance for the energy that comes through for the collective of Taurus. Not going to be anybody who resonates with it, but you are a full-grown adult because nobody under 18 is supposed to be watching these videos. And just so you know, you are responsible for your own actions. So nothing that I say or do should change what you do if it is not something that makes sense to you. So if it doesn't resonate, you move on. Maybe share it with somebody who it might resonate with, who might need some kind of advice, and otherwise, keep your point of view to yourself in that sense, because guess what, Taurus? You can just skip on by the video, and that would be all right with me, because I'm not for everybody. I am a spicy reader. I curse a little bit, and I have my sweetest little dog in the world keep me company while I do readings, okay? And I'm sorry to be a little grumpy with that, but I did not appreciate the immaturity level of the question, because anybody who's anybody knows if you're watching videos like this, you obviously have to use your own mind, your own ideas, your own choices to decide what you're going to do or not going to do as an adult. And nobody is responsible for those decisions but you. And you are the only one who's going to be held accountable for that. So as an adult, you choose to watch a video that gives you advice. If I tell you to jump off the bridge, don't jump off the bridge, okay? Listen, I don't know if it was a Taurus, a Cancer, or a Virgo. I know it was one of those three signs that piped in with the conversation. And as much as I could try to explain myself, it would flip the words around and use it against me. So I just blocked him. He was just an idiot who didn't understand. As adults, your actions are your choices and your responsibilities, not mine. Okay? And so I will just leave them lines out going forward. You have free will and final say. You are in charge of your own life, no matter what your sign, what time, what day. You are the only one, as an adult, who's going to get held accountable for what you do or not do, no matter what. And in the end, your morality will catch up with you. Okay? All right, listen. This is supposed to be fun, spontaneous. And the inner child, let the inner child out. Have fun with these readings. They're not meant to be so serious and so threatening to you that you would just come here and take everything as golden. I'm an intuitive empath. I'm not a psychic. I do not pretend to be. I have guidance from the universe with cards or without cards. I can hold a piece of jewelry from your possession and give you information. You may or may not even know the information depending on how old the piece of jewelry might be. You understand? So you have to be open-minded to messages. And I do feel, Taurus, this is about something that is going on with you. Somebody is trying to tell you that you're responsible for something that you're not responsible for. And that's a totally different thing from what I'm talking about. But we still all have some moral or ethical thing within us that tells us we have to take care of shit. And Taurus, you're not in charge of everybody. You see, I no matter what side I put that thing on, it always does that. I can't sit like this. I can't sit like that. I'm not sure which way to go. Okay, we'll try it this way. I'm just trying to block. I like the daylight. Still like it behind my head. So when I rearrange my room, the window will not be behind me going forward. But I have to wait until after May when my roommate moves out. I can rearrange to my heart's content then. All right, let's get going. All seriousness, I am only trying to help those who reach out or watch my videos. I thank you so much for giving me the time of day, for listening with your own necessity to decide whether the message is for you or not. And I thank you for sharing your time and sharing this video and any donations you send my way. Venmo, friends and family, Cash App, all in my description box. Absolutely. I also am a Reiki energy healer. I am somebody who makes jewelry of all kinds, and I'm still expanding, so I'm working on all of that, building all of those things. My actual business name for my jewelry is Haven Jewels, and I also do personal readings, and I have emails in my description boxes if you would like to reach out to me and have any one of those services I provide, okay? I am really a wonderful person who just wants to help as many people as she can help. So when I get little kids on here passing themselves off as adults and acting like 2-year-olds, I have to look at some of that and say, those are the kind of people that need to be blocked, because you are blocking the energy, the positiveness of what I'm trying to do. And if you are going to rip apart everything that I say and do as factual, I need to remind you, all of my readings are free and timeless and for entertainment purposes only. Okay? If you are not in the need of receiving messages, then turn the goddamn computer off. Okay? You don't understand how I won't take responsibility for your thoughts, choices, and actions? How many days a week do you receive ideas, thoughts, and things from other people out there in the world just as passerbys? You're going to blame everybody for your own mistakes? I don't think so. All right, we're doing the 333 shuffle, Taurus. I could go on all day about stupid shit like this, and I won't waste my time anymore or your energy. I did need to put that out there as a disclaimer, because some people really obviously don't understand that this is a choice. The video comes up in your FYP or on your screen or whatever, you can say, no thank you. Okay? Anyways, let's get your 333 shuffle done. Get them top 3 cards off of this deck. This is about your inner child here, okay? First card, transformation. Number 29, which is 11. Yeah. Master number for us. Second card off the top, 38, story. So your transformation is a story. Maybe a book. I really love this card. Don't you? So cute. The ladybugs and the kid playing. Yeah, it's the not the hummingbird, the praying mantis, it looks like, or maybe it's a dragonfly. And then the butterfly, right? The worm. The early bird gets the worm. That's the other thought I just came through with that. The early bird gets the worm. Transformation and your story. The third card off the top of the deck is play. Play. Look it. Be that kid. Get outside and play. Play with your kids, your kids, and your kids. Kids. Okay. Grandchildren. I have 2. I have a third one on the way. I'm excited. So I like to play. I don't always feel invited, so I don't always, and it's not on them, that's on me. Okay, I want you to make that clear, Taurus. I feel like sometimes their space is invaded, and I don't want to be one of the space invaders. Okay, does that make sense to you? So sometimes I'll invite myself because I haven't seen them in a couple of weeks, and I really love spending time with them. And then other times I'll just say, you know what? It's Friday. It's their day to just come home, do what they do, and enjoy their space and time together. They're a couple. They're a family. They don't need mommy around all the time, okay? So just understand that I do put it on myself, just like you would, right? Okay. So this Friday I decided, no, I'm going to let them do their own thing. And if they wanted me to come over, they know they could just reach out, text me, or send me a message, say, hey, are you coming? You know, and I'll be there in 15 minutes. They know it. All right. So Taurus transformation. By the way, my one grandson is a Taurus. Transformation, story, and play. So Taurus, you have been going through it. I know the readings have been tough on you for the last year, at the very least. You and Leo have had some pretty tough times. Sagittarius, a little bit too. But you have gone through it. So this is what this is saying. You have gone through some major transformation, and the stories that you could tell could help so many. So you are looking at maybe doing just that, and maybe putting it in the form of a perspective of a child. So playing with your stories so they're not so gruesome. Maybe helping children to adapt in their life with story. You know what I mean? Like, we have many children, of course, with autism, ADHD, ADD, all the names and labels they put on kids today. I think it's a pathetic shame. The mental health, the field, and the physical health field is all about making money. It's not about taking care of you or your kids. And so I always say, and I always suggest, and I know that many people don't agree with me, and that's okay. I have 2 stepchildren that I helped raise that were autistic. I went to counseling and training I didn't need to go to because the parents involved needed to go. But I said, I'm going to support them. I love these boys. I'm going to help do what I can do, whatever. They didn't like me too much there. Because to be able to raise your kids, you have to be able to do things. And in the great world we live in, everything turns into abuse all of a sudden. I stood in a courtroom once for a speeding ticket. I was waiting till the very end to get called up for a speeding ticket, which was ridiculous because I wasn't speeding, but I was there doing the right thing. And the judge was talking to some parents up at the front of the court, and I am telling you this story because there's a reason behind it that's going to help you. Okay, so listen to the story. Okay. The parents were standing up front, and the judge says to the husband, he says, my name is Judge blah blah blah, gets up and shakes his hand, and then he shakes the mom's hand. It's a young couple, so they're like, what the hell is going on here, right? They don't have no clue what this guy's going to say, right? I've been in this courtroom for my own kids a couple times, so I had an idea. And he said, wow, you got a really strong handshake there. That's great. He said, that'll come in handy. And the guy says, what are you talking about? And he said, well, I know that today the welfare situation of our children is in dire straits. And I feel like if I have 2 parents standing in front of me in a courtroom, that this child has one hell of a chance of making it, no matter what. They are going to try you, they are going to push you, they are going to call you names, they're going to curse, they're going to swear, stomp their feet, slam doors. This is what kids do to get their way. And I feel like with you standing here, they actually have a half a chance. And he said, and I just shook your hand, and I thought you had a really great handshake. And he said, can I ask what you've done to discipline your children? What techniques do you use? So they go on to explain. We stand them in the corner, we sit them in a chair, or we get down on the floor with them, and we get eye to eye and we talk to them. All the right things that you should say if you've been to a parenting class. Okay, parenting classes are wonderful. Let's hope the teachers have kids, because if they don't, they really don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Just plain and simple. Okay, if they have kids, they know. And they are all right to teach the courses like as such, okay? But if you've never had kids and you're teaching a course about disciplining people, get out of my face, okay? Anyways, I did go toe-to-toe with the one, and then I left. Never went back. because they weren't my children, and I didn't have to be there, and I wasn't court ordered to be there. I went to support the boys. Okay. Anyways, long time ago, many years ago, not a problem now. The judge says to this couple, well, I need to know to understand, when have you ever spanked your child? Now he's 5 years old. He doesn't have a diaper on anymore. And the judge says, oh no, we would never do that. And he said, why? And they didn't know what to say, right? Because that could have been a trap, right? Why wouldn't you hit your child? That's how you look at it when you're going to hit your child, right? But there's a difference, and I will stand firm to this, and you can not leave any nasty comments because I don't care. I'm almost 60. I raised my children. They both respect me. They both can take care of themselves. They don't need medications. They both have jobs, and they have very good jobs, by the way. And not everybody is that lucky. I'm a very lucky person. I was a single mom raising my kids, okay? Pretty much. Dad was the fun guy, and I was the bitch, okay? So, and my mother-in-law, my second mother-in-law, used to call me Hitler. And I used to say, I am Heil Hitler to my kids, because I'm mom and dad. Right? And I'm pretty sure that it doesn't matter whether you're mom or dad. As a single parent, you play the role as you play the role, okay? And there are plenty of single dads out there that raise their children, so kudos to you. I send you kudos if you're a Taurus. Absolutely. But Taurus, there is nothing wrong with discipline, structure, and making sure you're maintaining that. But you also have to remember, discipline sometimes has to be firm. And I don't care how many times you sit a child in a chair, or you put them in their room, or you do this or you do that. At some point, they're going to do something over the top, whether they are 3, whether they are 5. And I'm not saying hold off and punch your child ever. I would kill you for that. Not literally, okay? But I would take you out of it, because that is the parent who's looking to lose their kid, okay? If you're going to do that. But don't touch. No swearing, no cursing. And my kids got soap. I got soap. I want you to know that Ivory's the best soap. Yeah. And when they wouldn't open their mouths, I got a nice little sponge, soaped it all up, and put it in their mouth for a second. I only had to do it once. You understand? Once. And when it came down to it, the judge said, I need you to understand as a parent that you have to stand up sometimes and do the things that need to be done so that your child learns right from wrong correctly from you. Not the school, not the teachers. I got a paddle in school twice. Well, wrong thing to do. My mother was not happy. But sometimes you have to step up, Taurus, and do the right thing. And the judge in this courtroom told them, stop being afraid of law enforcement so much to the point that you can't simply tap your kid's ass. Listen, tap. Not pounding, not beating, not punching. I pulled my daughter out of a closet once. She'll tell you the story if you ever ask her. She put her hand in my face like this. That was a mistake. She never did it again. I pulled her out of the closet because she thought there was an exit on the other side. I don't know why she would have ran in there, right? But I pulled her out of the closet by the back of her head. She had long hair, and she didn't like her hair pulled, so she came willingly. I had to let go. I put her down on the bed. I climbed on top of her because, of course, she was going to try to run. I wasn't sitting on her so she couldn't breathe, but I held her down because I was little. She was taller and thicker than me. I was littler than her. I sat on top of her just to get her attention, to make that eye contact, and I did smack her across the face. I did. And you know why I did that? She needed to understand that it was not okay to speak to me that way. How do people speak? through their mouth, right? I didn't make her mouth bleed. I didn't break teeth on her gums or none of that. I barely touched her. But the point of the matter is, at some point you have to step the line and be the freaking parent, right? So when do we learn how to play? When do we tell the story, Taurus? As you're going through your transformation. This is a story of your transformation. Who did that to you? And was it worse than what I'm just explaining to you? Because that would be abuse. And if you were ever abused in your life, and I was, not by my mother, not by my father, by others, and I won't mention. But some people don't understand the word no. Your children are included in that. So at some point in your life, you have to step up and be the parent and be firm. You're not their friend. But that does not mean once the lesson has been taught and the lesson has been learned that you can't show them the better side of you. You don't always have to be Hitler. That's why I tell you this message. You're going through the transformation, Taurus. It's a very important message, and the story took a little bit to get out of me. I'm sorry. And you're not always going to agree with me, and that's fine. But there are lessons you need to teach to certain people in your life. May not be children, maybe friends, maybe other people closer to you, spouse, parents, family, friends, people that you love with your heart and soul. That's the importance of this message right here. And I went a long ways to get there, and I apologize if it took up your time that you didn't want me to take up. But sometimes you need to hear the full story. That judge looked at the parents and said, I expect you to be parents no matter what. And the one thing you're going to need to do, which is legal and okay, is take your hand and put it on their behind. I just shook your hand. I know you have a good handshake. That firmness in your handshake could be used on a butt. And then you get their attention. And then you make the eye contact. Now, I only ever, and I'm going to be honest with you, once with my son, once, the one I told you about with my daughter, did I have to smack their hand once in a while or tap their mouth when they swore or when they hit each other kind of a thing? Correction? Yeah. But I would never, ever have hurt my child in any way, physically, mentally, or otherwise, okay? And if you don't take a firm hand on the situation that's involved with you, whether it be with children, family, friendships, even your employer, if you don't take a firm hand with them and stand up face to face with it and deal with it, it will keep hollering at you. It will keep haunting you. And it will keep showing up and only get worse. And I use children because of the cards, okay? Your inner child, okay? Right? Healing the inner child. I use these cards and I use the story of the children for you, Taurus, to understand that you don't always have to be the asshole. But you do have to let people know who the fuck you are. And they have to respect you in this situation. So if you're their boss, be their boss. Outside of the work areas, outside of the work zone, if it's a situation and occupation, you can be their friend outside. But they certainly have to know the boundaries. I have a friend that I work with. I'd never expected her to do me favors. I would never put her in that position. We were friends, okay? And you got to understand that's the way it is. But you are, if it's a child situation, whether it's a teenager, a young boy, or girl, or whatever, okay? This is your story to tell, and I don't need to know the story. I need you to understand that someday this story is going to get told again, just like I just told you the story, right? Of the couple in court. The judge told them there was nothing wrong with spanking their child. There was nothing wrong with correcting their behaviors with the behavior that they did as long as you did not use extreme force. This came out of the judge's mouth, not mine. And those were his words, okay? So I want you to understand it's okay for you to do the same in your own life, whether it is a child, a friend, a family member. Listen, family is the first one to go over the boundaries in your life because they think they can. And this is exactly full circle back to the story why I don't invade my son's home just because I want to go there and spend time with them and the grandbabies. I know that they're tired. They both worked all day. They weren't home. They're going to get home. The boys are going to be weepy and whiny, and they're going to be so happy to see mommy and daddy, and I'm going to be the last person they want to see. I know that, okay? I would love to have a day where I could just go over when mommy and daddy were working and spend the day babysitting. I would love that, because then they wouldn't need mommy or daddy. They would need me for a day, just to babysit. They never ask. But it's okay, because you know why they don't ask me? I know why they don't ask me. Because they're all grown up. And they can take care of their own family. And they don't need me. Does that make sense to what I was telling you, Taurus? Okay, not all of you are going to get it. Not all of you. This message is not for all of you. Okay? But it's an important message to take charge of your own life during your transformation. I didn't even draw another card here. Take charge. Here's another card. Search your soul. Guide yourself in this situation. Everybody's story is different. That was just one story I had. I experienced in my life. And I know that some of my friends put wedges in between us for no reason. But because they felt they needed to, I allowed it. And I allowed it. And they live where they live. I live where I live. And, the road goes both ways. Okay? The road goes both ways, and I'm tired of the only one doing the traveling. Okay? That's what I'm talking about with boundaries. Okay? I love my friends. I will always love my friends. They are my lifeline. Sometimes when we talk, I don't stop talking to them. I'm not reaching out the way I used to. I'm not allowing things that used to go on in my life to go on. That's really all it's about for me. I play. And I want you to play. And I want you to be happy. Don't you want to be happy, Taurus? You have to be happy. So whatever you're deciding to do, it must involve how you feel in your soul. You know if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. You know. It feels really good if you're doing the right thing, right? Feels really great. But if you're not doing the right thing, that inner child in you feels strapped and strangled, right? It's okay to smack yourself on the ass. Okay? Get yourself out of that mode of thinking. Do you understand the metaphor between real life raising children and real life taking care of your inner child? I certainly do not preach to know how to parent other people's kids. I won't, and I don't. I work in a retail environment where I know that parenting is not enforced in a lot of situations. It's not my business. But with this message, I just want you to understand, I want you to do what's right for you, Taurus. It's time for you to come out and play. Show your inner child to people. It's okay. And as long as you've chosen the right team of people in your life, they will know the difference between play and work. If it's an occupation situation, you can play outside of work, but you cannot take sides inside of work because you know somebody. Because, they're good people and they really deserve a chance. That's because you know them personally outside of the place of work. And when you make statements like that, it shows your favoritism. Okay? Taurus, where do you belong? And what are your limiting beliefs in this situation? Okay? Like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. Let me know what you think. Be kind in the comments. My intention is good, and sometimes the message has to be tough. But if you are not feeling like you belong somewhere, maybe it's time for you to leave that situation. Because your beliefs shouldn't be limited to what you were raised, how you were raised. And yes, I was raised much different than today's children. So I still firmly believe a good plant of a hand on the behind is a good teacher. Do I think that is something we should be doing all the time or even the first time, right? If you say no, you give them another chance, you say stop. Do you want to sit in a chair and have a timeout? Okay. But when you get past that point and they are still pushing the wrong button for the choice, then it's time to step up, be a little firmer. You cannot be afraid to tell your child no, even your inner child. Okay? Understand this may metaphorically be only the message. Metaphorically. You are the inner child holding yourself back. Cut loose. One more card for you. Alchemy. Number 8. You are the alchemist in your own life. You see the light, the child's reaching to the stars and dreaming. What is that child sitting on? Right? A different kind of giraffe, huh? So that you can wish on a star. Like dreams come true. And instead of a plain old white moon there with the stars, we got a green, yellow. The colors are amazing, right? The ideas that you have. What kind of book do you want to write, Taurus? Some of you, I feel very strongly, have a book to write. And you're only wishing on a star right now. Do it with a childlike mindset. Do it for the children. I'll be the last one to tell you to use any physical means to discipline a child of any age. But I would tell you also that sometimes you have to step over the line. And most times, my mother only did it once. My mother only did it once. I only did it once. To each child. Once. And it wasn't I'm going to knock you to fuck out, I'm going to, all of that bullshit to kids. It was, I think it's time that you understand where we're coming from. Little boom, and that was the end of it. They cried for 5 minutes, and that was the end. It didn't happen again. They didn't ask you again. You understand? Who are all my soldiers out there? Yes, I will use that as a metaphor as well. I know the things my son had to do in the army, going through basic and the others, and all the lessons they got taught real quickly to earn their phone privileges, to earn their time to leave, to go home during their breaks, right? Okay. My son told me some doozies. Probably one of the most disciplined men I ever met. But he got put in his place by me and the army. Okay? But there's reasons for that, right? You have to learn how to be a certain way for the enemy, because the enemy don't give a shit who you are out there, right? In the army, if you're going to fight a war. You understand, Taurus? I can't think of any other metaphors. This is about you and your life and what you need to be doing for you. And I feel like, as a child, nobody heard you out because there was no boundaries in place. You were the kid running around, Mommy, 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 Mommy! That's what you were. Because Mommy never listened. Right? Mommy didn't hear you. Or at least you think she didn't. Because when my kids did that once, I'm almost 60, so give me a break, okay? when my kids tried to do that to me, I would remind them once, what's the rules? We'd have a straight face, even though I was trying not to laugh half the time. What is the rule? Don't interrupt mom when she's talking. What is mommy doing? Talking. So if mommy didn't answer you, what's the rule? Okay? And then they stop. And then I'd finish whatever it was we were doing at the moment. It doesn't even matter what it is you're doing. They need to be reminded what the rule is, so they will follow the rule. And it only takes once. I didn't have to do anything else. I just had to remind them what the rule was. You know why? Because they knew if they didn't follow the rule out in public, in the real world, in a place of business where I expected you to be your best, then we were going to learn real fast what our home life was going to become for the night. It was bath, bed, no TV. And the only time they got TV was bedtime. Okay. And maybe Saturday morning cartoons. Taurus. I need you to understand, and this has become the longest 15-minute video ever, but I want you to understand. And even if you don't understand, some point you might understand. You are allowing something to go on and on and on and on in your life, and you are not experiencing all the fun, all the things, and all the life because you are taking everything so seriously that you forgot what it was like to be a child yourself. You forgot what it was like to have fun and laugh and smile. You forgot how to allow yourself to be human. And with that, Taurus, I'm getting out of your face. If you even stayed this long, I thank you. I'm Intuitive Niche. All my information is in this description box. If you have any questions, reach out, please, and thank you. I am so happy that you would join me today, and I hope to God you understand what this message was really about. To all the naysayers about not spanking your children or whatever, save it. This video is not about spanking children. This is about lessons learned, how we learn them, and what are we doing today to teach ourselves how to take charge of our own lives. Taurus, you're bullheaded, and sometimes you're stubborn as okay? I know my sister was a Taurus before she passed away, and now I have a grandson that's a Taurus, and thankfully he'll be the only grandson I have as a Taurus. Okay, thank you. As a mama's learning the toughness. Don't fear life so much, Taurus, that you can't take charge of your own life. At the same time, being firm, you can also have fun. And I think you forget that. Get out there, have some fun, enjoy things. If it is an occupational thing, show your employees. I had a member of management who said, let's take our vests off, let's take our badges off, let's go outside. We all did that. We all stood out in the parking lot like a bunch of fools without our vests or our names, and he walked over to each and every one of us, and he shook our hands, introduced himself. Hi, my name's Tom. What's your name? I will be your best friend for life if you will be mine. We can go to parties together. We can have fun together. We can hang out with our friends together. We can do whatever we want to do. Okay? Every single one of us he went to. Okay? And then he said, put your vest back on. Put your name tag back on. After he did that, there was 20 of us outside. And he said, hello, my name is Tom. I am your coach, and while we were here in this building, I am in charge of all operations of this building, as well as what your job is to do while you are here. And I will expect you to respect me and follow direction. If there are questions and problems, please feel free to come see me. We can discuss them and options to solutions. But outside here, without our vests, we can be besties, right? We can be besties. But inside that door, I'm your boss, and I expect you to respect me and do as you're asked to do. Whether it is me or the direct boss that you have at the time, whatever. On that day, that man earned my respect. And I did go to their house and have a few drinks, and his wife and I, now that he's passed, are still friends, and I would like to think we will always be friends because of our connection that way. Take advantage of the moments of that personal time if you get something like that with your coworkers or your friends or your business people that you work with. But remind yourself, it is only for the moment. Your coworkers, most of them, will not be in your everyday life only for work. So if this is a work situation and somebody is stepping over the line, and although you may be having fun a couple of days out of the week because you're all having happy moments and things are going well, when things go bad, that one is going to take you out first before they get taken out. Try to remember that. They are not your friends at work. And most of the time they will not be your friends outside the door. And I have very few people that I have worked with that I can call my friends. And I'm 60, almost 60. Okay? And I worked with some people a very long time. And not all of them were my friends. You have to learn to accept things. The truth is simple. It's in front of your face. Your limiting beliefs will have you surrendering to the wrong and for the wrong reasons. And no matter what story I sit here and tell you, because you had the story card, your fears are what's holding you back. Love is universal. Okay? You can love people and still be firm with them, including your inner child. And you can still have fun. And you just have to figure out the balance in your life to make that happen. And if people overstep it, whether it is a child, an adult, a coworker, or an occupation situation going on, you still have to know the difference. I feel this is such an important message for you this week, Taurus. So I want you to really pay attention. All parts of this message may not resonate with you. And if it doesn't, it's okay. And it may resonate in pieces here and pieces there. Or you might have the whole message sit in your side and in your soul, because you had the soul card, and really make you think about it. You're okay to be human and adult. It's okay to say no and mean it. And it's okay to correct them when they overstep that boundary. Okay? And if they don't understand that, then they don't deserve to be part of your situation. You're fired, get out, I don't care. It's whatever you got to do for you. Okay? That's the acceptance. Now that you've done that, get outside and play. Jesus. Go on, Taurus. Love and light.